They said it was too late at 65, then she drank this for 10 days. They said that her energy was gone, her waistline was lost, and her body was too old to bounce back. That all she could do now was manage decline. But they were wrong, because in just 10 days, with one glass each morning, everything started to change. No pills, no expensive programs, no miracle claims. Just something simple, ordinary, and already sitting in her kitchen cabinet. Her joints? Looser. Her digestion? Calmer. Her energy? Back. What she discovered wasn't magic. It was a message to her cells, a signal that healing was still possible. And now, thousands over 60 are waking up to the same truth. You are not too late. You are not too old. Your body still remembers how to heal if you give it the chance. Keep watching, because in just a moment, you'll find out exactly what she drank and how it could change your mornings, your body, and your hope. It was 2:37 in the afternoon when she caught her reflection. The light in the bathroom was harsh, the kind of light that doesn't lie. She leaned in closer to the mirror, lifting the skin under her eyes. Tired, puffy, a little sad. The kind of face that had seemed joy, but hadn't felt it in a while. She let her hand fall. Her robe, soft and faded, clung to the roundness of her middle, a belly that hadn't budged in years, no matter how many low-fat yogurts, long walks, or hopeful smoothies she'd forced down. She stood there, barefoot on cool tile, her hair thinning at the temples, her shoulders slightly hunched not from pain, but from defeat. The scale hadn't moved. The bloating hadn't left. Her energy dipped every afternoon like clockwork. And yet, her doctor said everything looked normal. Normal, she whispered. Then why do I feel like I'm disappearing? She had followed the rules. She had said no to desserts, yes to flaxseed, yes to bone broth, yes to those overpriced probiotic drinks that tasted like vinegar and disappointment. Still, nothing. Until one day, one ordinary Tuesday, her old friend Nancy dropped by. Same age, similar struggles. But Nancy looked different. Her skin glowed, not like makeup, but like health. Her posture was better. Her voice was stronger. She moved like someone who had energy to spare. Over tea, Nancy leaned in and said quietly, "I started drinking something every morning. It's not fancy. It's not expensive. But it woke me up from the inside out." She pulled a small jar from her tote bag and placed it gently on the table. "Just one glass," she said. "Every morning. For 10 days. The woman laughed at first. "I've tried everything." But Nancy only smiled. "No, you've tried everything they told you. This isn't from a shelf at the pharmacy. This is from the past, from the body, from nature. And it's been quietly waiting for you this whole time." That night, the woman stood again in front of her mirror. The jar sat on the bathroom counter, catching the soft glow of the vanity lights like something sacred. She didn't open it. Not yet. But something in her heart whispered, what if this is the beginning? What if it's not too late? What if all the things she was told to accept, fatigue, inflammation, brain fog, stubborn weight, weren't permanent? What if she'd been lied to? Not maliciously, just culturally, slowly, over decades. What if the slow fade of aging could be paused, or even reversed, with one small shift? Her fingers reached toward the jar. She didn't know it then, but she was about to begin one of the most powerful transformations of her life, not because of what was in the glass, but because of what it reawakened inside her. She didn't ask permission. She didn't wait for validation. She didn't even Google it. She drank. Not just liquid. She drank hope. And it tasted like freedom. They told her to accept it. Instead, she rewrote it. Because the truth is, you're never too old to listen to your body. You're never too late to start again. And sometimes the smallest sip becomes the loudest yes of your life. She used to be the one people noticed when she walked into a room, not because of glamour or sparkle, but because of something quieter, something alive. Her laugh came from the gut. Her hugs lingered. Her energy was like fresh air on a spring morning, gentle, but unmistakably present. But lately, even she could barely feel herself. It wasn't just the weight. It was the withdrawal. She wasn't disappearing in size. She was disappearing in spirit. She started saying no to invitations, not because she didn't want to go, but because getting dressed felt like a battle. Her clothes didn't fit the same. Her joints hurt in new places. And the smile she wore? It felt like a mask. A well-practiced performance she gave the world so they wouldn't ask what was really going on. At night, she would sit at the edge of her bed, staring down at her feet like they belonged to someone else, swollen, tender, tired from a body that used to dance. Her energy wasn't just low. It was gone. Gone like the morning pep she used to feel brewing coffee. Gone like the confidence that let her speak up, walk tall, be seen. Gone like that soft fire that once made her feel like a woman, not just someone moving through the motions of aging. She remembered what it felt like to be vibrant, to get out of the shower and feel the towel glide across smooth skin, to brush her hair and feel the strength in her roots, to slip into her jeans without bracing for disappointment. Now, it felt like she was fading. The worst part wasn't the symptoms. It was the silence. No one really talked about this part of life, not honestly. It was all silver linings and stay positive mantras. But what about the grief of losing yourself piece by piece? There was a time she thought she was just tired. Then she thought she was just hormonal. Then she thought maybe this was just the cost of turning 60, then 61, then 65. But deep inside, the real ache was the belief that maybe, just maybe, it was too late. Too late to change. Too late to bounce back. Too late to feel like herself again. And that was the heaviest thought of all, because no one warned her that aging without answers would feel like abandonment. By her body, by the system, by her past self who didn't see this coming. And so, she smiled when people asked how she was. She laughed at their jokes, even though her insides ached. She went to bed early, not because she wanted rest, but because the evenings felt too long to sit in. Like this video if you've ever been told to give up. Comment if you're finally ready to give yourself another chance. And that's where this story truly begins, not with a drink or a jar, but with a woman quietly carrying the weight of withdrawal, the emptiness behind the mask, and the aching wish for energy she thought she'd lost forever. Because when the body starts whispering for help and no one listens, the soul starts to whisper too. And that whisper becomes the question no one says out loud. What if I'm still in here, somewhere? Aging didn't steal her strength. Silence did. She didn't want to rewind the clock. She just wanted to feel like her again. And in 10 days, she would. But first, she had to confront the quiet pain no one talks about and decide that being forgotten, even by her own reflection, was no longer acceptable. The third morning she drank it, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic, not a lightning bolt or a miracle, but a whisper, a warmth, a hum. She felt a flicker of energy behind her eyes, the kind she hadn't felt in years. She stood at the kitchen sink, holding the empty glass in her hand, staring out at her quiet street. And a question bloomed in her chest. Why didn't anyone tell me this? Why didn't her doctor, the one who smiled politely at every appointment and jotted notes in a rush, ever mention that something this simple, this accessible, could move the needle?
He prescribed pills for her inflammation, creams for her skin, supplements for her sleep. But not this. Not once. And suddenly, the frustration that had been quietly simmering under the surface began to rise. Because it wasn't just her doctor. It was the entire machine. The wellness blogs, the magazine ads, the late-night commercials.
All of them promising that healing came in child-proof caps or fancy branding. That relief lived behind the pharmacy counter. But here she was, 65, drinking a homemade tonic from her friend's cupboard, and for the first time in a decade, her body felt like it was waking up. She felt betrayed. Not by one person, but by a system built on half-truths and high copays. A culture that told women to expect the worst after 60, to expect weight gain, brain fog, brittle bones, and slow decline. To buy creams and powders to hide it, but never to challenge it. For years, she'd carried the shame of getting older like it was a personal failure, as if her body's natural response to years of stress, processed food, and silent inflammation was her fault, as if she hadn't tried hard enough. But now she saw it for what it really was: conditioning, repetition, a kind of cultural hypnosis that whispered, "You're fading," while distracting her from the fact that she could still choose to rise. That morning, she sat with her journal, something she hadn't done in ages. She wrote 5 words, circled them, underlined them, and stared at them until they burned through her. What else aren't they telling me? Because if one little drink could spark something so profound, what other truths had been sitting on her shelves, collecting dust? Her mind flicked back to all the ads she'd ignored, the articles she'd skimmed, the natural remedies her grandmother once whispered about before they were dismissed as folk tales. They were never folk tales. They were warnings. They were tools. They were wisdom, just inconvenient for profit. The betrayal wasn't in the aging. It was in the silence. They said she was aging. What she was actually doing was awakening. It wasn't about turning back time. She didn't want to be 30 again. She just wanted to reclaim her body's rhythm, its intuition, its quiet power. And with each sip, she wasn't just healing. She was remembering what it felt like to trust herself, to trust that the answers didn't always come in sterile packages, to trust that nature still had a say, to trust that she still had a say. She didn't need another prescription. She didn't need another lecture about calories or cardio. She didn't even need permission. She needed to take the reins, to shake off the mask, to reawaken the energy that had never really left, just buried under years of withdrawal. Because this wasn't just a drink. It was a decision. And that decision was simple: no more waiting, no more silence, no more masks, just clarity, energy, and truth. And that truth? It tasted like freedom. It started with a glass, not a supplement, not a surgery, not a shiny label with promises in bold font. Just a glass, filled with warm water, a squeeze of fresh lemon, and a tablespoon of raw, cloudy apple cider vinegar. She hesitated on the first day, wrinkled her nose at the sharp scent. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't sweet, but something about it felt honest. And as she sipped, something stirred, not just in her stomach, but in her spirit. Because this wasn't about weight loss anymore, or wrinkles, or numbers on a chart. It was about waking up to the idea that maybe, just maybe, her body still had more to give. That healing didn't stop at 60. That truth, not time, was the real turning point. Day 1. Her digestion spoke first. Not loudly, but with a gentle shift, less bloating after lunch, fewer gurgles at night. The lemon citrus, like a gentle broom, began scrubbing away the fog. The vinegar, acidic on the tongue but alkaline in the blood, whispered to her liver, "You can breathe again." Day 2. She noticed her appetite didn't scream. The evening snack cravings, the ones that came with loneliness, not hunger, felt muted, balanced, like her body was recalibrating itself, not punishing her, not withholding, just realigning. Day 3. She stood in the shower and caught herself humming. That hadn't happened in years. A lightness pulsed in her chest. She slept a full 7 hours the night before, deep, uninterrupted. No more tossing. No more midnight fog. Just rest. Healing kind of rest. Day 4. Her skin, dull and dry for years, caught the sunlight differently. She swore the lines around her mouth softened. A glow returned. Not a young glow, a well glow. The kind that says, "Something is waking up inside me." Day 5. A friend said, "You look different." Just that. No mention of makeup. No talk of diet. just different, lighter, clearer. She smiled all the way home, because here's what was happening under the surface. The lemon, packed with vitamin C and natural electrolytes, was flushing inflammation from her tissues. It was telling her immune system to stop misfiring, to stop attacking the joints that just wanted peace. The apple cider vinegar, raw, fermented, alive, was feeding her gut microbiome. Tiny warriors in her belly were multiplying, restoring balance, producing the kind of hormones that elevate mood, regulate blood sugar, and sharpen memory. Together, they were cleaning house. Gently, daily, without fanfare. Day 6. She caught herself singing in the kitchen, light on her feet, dancing while drying dishes. Her knees didn't snap when she turned. Her fingers didn't ache as she twisted the lid off a jar. These were small wins, but to her, they were miracles. Day 7. She wrote in her journal, "I'm not trying to look younger. I'm trying to feel present. And for the first time in a long time, I do." Day 8. The scale moved. Not dramatically, but the inflammation bloat around her stomach, face, hands seemed to melt. Her wedding ring slid on smoother. Her eyes looked more awake. The mirror stopped being an enemy. Day 9. She skipped her morning coffee, not on purpose. She simply forgot. Her energy was already there, calm and steady. No crash, no jitters, just clarity. Her mind wasn't racing. It was anchored. Day 10. She didn't just drink the mixture. She looked forward to it. It had become routine. A quiet moment of truth before the noise of the day. A reminder that she was no longer on autopilot. She was in the driver's seat now. And the greatest shift wasn't the weight, or the energy, or the compliments. It was the belief. The belief that her body wasn't broken, it was waiting. That all these years, her system had been calling out for something gentle, something real, something natural enough to trust and powerful enough to change everything. Healing doesn't stop with age. It starts with truth. A drink won't save the world, but it can start a revolution in one woman's world. And when she realizes that at 65, at 70, at 85, she can still change, it ripples. Because if her body still responds, what else is possible? Her friend tried it next, then her sister, then 3 women from her walking group. And the transformation wasn't just physical. It was emotional, collective, like a veil had lifted, like a lie had been exposed. The lie that said, "It's too late. You missed your chance. Just accept it." She had accepted it until she didn't. And when she didn't, everything changed. This wasn't about the drink. It never was. It was about permission. Permission to question, to explore, to try, to feel, to awaken, to believe, again, in her body's power. Because the most radical act at 65 is choosing to start over. She didn't just drink it. She documented it. She didn't just hope. It became her 10-day mission. And now, it's your turn. If this story stirred something inside you, pause. Listen to that whisper. Because that quiet urge to try, to do something, to reclaim just a sliver of your energy and hope, that's not nothing. That's the moment everything shifts. This is your invitation not to wish for better days, but to test for them. 1 glass, 10 days, a controlled experiment with one subject that truly matters, you. Here's what you do. Before anything else, grab a notebook or open your phone's notes app. Title it, 10 Days to Reclaim Myself. Then, before you even take your first sip, write down just 3 things. How do you feel today physically? What's the one part of your body or mind you most want to feel better in? On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you believe you can change? Because you're not just drinking lemon and apple cider vinegar. You're measuring something far more powerful, hope in motion. Now here's your mix. Each morning, before food, on an empty stomach, 1 cup of warm, not boiling, water juice of 1/2 fresh lemon, 1 tablespoon raw, Unfiltered apple cider vinegar stir. Sip. Slowly. Let it be a routine, not a rush. Why morning? Because your body's been fasting through the night. It's thirsty, receptive. That first drink sets the tone for your metabolism, hydration, detox pathways, and digestion. Now do something bold. Measure your waist. Not for vanity, but for inflammation. Take note of puffiness in your face, your rings, how your clothes fit. Then set it aside. This isn't about being smaller. It's about feeling free inside your own body again. And each night, write 3 lines. What felt better today? What surprised you? What did you need less of: caffeine, sugar, stress? Because change is subtle. And if you don't record it, you'll miss it. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It helps more seniors like you discover life-changing health tips, and it helps us keep creating them for you every day. But most importantly, visit us at thegoldenyearsrx.com. That's TheGoldenyearsRx.com to join our free community of seniors who want to stay strong, independent, and full of life. Now here's the magic most people miss. Change doesn't live in intensity. It lives in consistency. It's not what you drink once, it's what you do again and again and again. That's why day 2 might feel flat. Day 4 might bring doubt. But day 7, day 8, you'll feel something flicker. More clarity in the morning. Less bloating after lunch. A different kind of tired at night, the good kind. And you're not doing this alone. Invite a friend. Forward them this video and say, I want to try this. But I don't want to do it alone. Aging was never meant to be isolated. And healing always accelerates in community. You might be surprised what happens when 2 women in their 60s make a pact not to lose weight, but to gain belief. To anyone watching this who feels like you're starting too late, we say, you're not starting late. You're starting aware. And awareness is the fastest path to transformation. Your job is not to be perfect. It's to be curious. To try something simple and honest. To see what your body remembers when you finally give it what it needs. Because that woman, the one in this story, she didn't need a prescription. She didn't need punishment. She just needed a pause and a pattern she could repeat. This drink was the pattern. Her body did the rest. So here's your next 10 days. Lemon, apple cider vinegar, warm water, empty stomach, journal, 1 friend, 1 promise. I'm not done yet. You are now the active experimenter of your own body. You're not waiting for something to work. You are the work. Because the moment you go from wondering if you can to witnessing that you did, everything opens. The next 10 days won't just test your body. They'll teach you that change is always 1 choice away. Are you in? She didn't join a gym. She joined herself. And that was the real transformation. Because by the end of 10 days, this wasn't about lemon or vinegar anymore. It wasn't even about the drink. It was about the mirror and who looked back. For the first time in years, she saw someone who decided. Someone who didn't wait for permission or praise or a plan that came from someone in a white coat. She had become her own authority, her own advocate, her own quiet revolution. The weight she lost wasn't just on her body. It was the heaviness of being ignored, being dismissed, being told, this is just part of aging. But she knew better now. You do too. You don't need to be someone else's patient. You need to be your own partner. And the truth is, you were never supposed to do this alone. That's why we created a space that's more than just comment sections and quick tips. It's a home base for people just like you, people who are rewriting the story of aging 1 choice, 1 drink, 1 day at a time. Join our free community today, because the best results don't come from willpower. They come from witnessing each other. When you join, you'll get practical, delicious recipes that support energy, digestion, and metabolism after 60 stories that make you feel less alone, and more powerful support from peers who get it, not because they read it, but because they lived it science-backed knowledge explained in a way that feels human, not clinical longevity wisdom that's not filtered by profit, but grounded in purpose. Imagine logging in and seeing women from 62 to 82 sharing their photos, their questions, their wins. Imagine swapping tips like, "This helped me sleep. This reduced my bloating. This gave me my mornings back." It's not just content, it's connection. And here's what makes it different. This isn't about turning back time. It's about turning toward yourself. Because once you start showing up for yourself consistently, your body remembers how to respond. You're not just shedding inflammation. You're shedding self-doubt. You're not just reclaiming your waist. You're reclaiming your worth. One of our members, Ruth, said it best. "I didn't think I'd feel strong again. I thought that ship had sailed." But this group, this drink, it flipped a switch. It wasn't magic. It was momentum. That's what happens when a single decision becomes a signal to the body. A signal that says, we're not surviving anymore. We're building again. And here's the truth most people don't hear. Healing isn't loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't shout. It whispers. I'm still here. I still want to feel alive. I still believe there's more waiting for me. That whisper gets louder in a group, in a sisterhood, in a circle of people who've decided that age is not the finish line, it's the proving ground. So join us, not because you're broken, but because you're finally ready to stop pretending that your best years are behind you. They aren't. They are standing in front of you, waiting for you to take one small step toward them. A sip, a smile, a second chance. That's all it takes to begin. Join our free community today and let your transformation be witnessed. Be celebrated. Be supported. This isn't just a group. It's a gathering of women who said, not yet. You don't have to do this perfectly. You just have to do it together. Are you ready? Let's meet you inside. If this gave you even one reason to hope, imagine what the next video could give you. Maybe it was that one sentence that felt like it was written just for you. Maybe it was hearing your story inside hers. Or maybe, for the first time in years, you feel like change is still possible. That's not an accident. That's a signal that your body is still listening, that your heart still wants to try, that your timeline is not over, it's just finally yours again. If that's how you feel, even just a little, subscribe now. Because this isn't a one-time awakening. This is a return to something you never really lost. A spark, a sense of control, a quiet voice that says, I'm still here. I'm not done yet. And what's coming next? It might just be the piece you've been missing all along. In our next video, we're pulling back the curtain on something millions of people over 60 are told is healthy, but is quietly sabotaging their skin, their liver, and their energy. 3 innocent-looking health drinks that are silently aging you faster than you think, and 3 replacements that actually fuel your cells, balance your hormones, and protect your heart. If this video gave you relief, the next one will give you armor. Because let's be clear, longevity isn't built in hospitals. It's built in the kitchen. It's built in the mirror. It's built in moments like this, where you choose to learn, to listen, and to live with intention. So tap the bell button right now, not just to get notified, but to get ready. Ready to defend your body with knowledge. Ready to take back decades with nutrition. Ready to reclaim your reflection with truth. The story doesn't end here. In fact, this might be the chapter where your story finally begins. You crossed a line, a quiet but powerful line that separates old beliefs from new decisions. You didn't just hear a story. You stepped inside one, and somewhere in there, you saw yourself. You didn't just drink a formula. You rewrote a belief. You told your body, I still trust you. You told your mind, I'm not giving up. You told your story, we're not finished yet. This wasn't about lemon and apple cider vinegar. This was about energy. No more withdrawal. No more masks. Because here's the truth that rarely gets said out loud. Aging doesn't strip us of power. Believing we have no options does. But today, you proved. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It helps more seniors like you discover life-changing health tips, and it helps us keep creating them for you every day. But most importantly, visit us at thegoldenyearsrx.com. That's TheGoldenyearsRx.com to join our free community of seniors who want to stay strong, independent, and full of life.